question. There was something that came up for me about it, and I kind of wanted to check in to see whether it was roughly on the right track. That one of the purposes of witness type exercises is to reduce the doubt that we have that we are consciousness. And even if the witness practices leave subtle traces of something reifications of things that of mental stuff, that it does have the therapeutic effect of quieting that thing that part of us that says I couldn't possibly be awareness, I must be something else. And that the one of the purposes of those kinds of exercises is you get closer and those doubts fall away.
Yes, I mean, I even more than that. Yes, and I would say that otherwise it remains a belief. But in a lived life, it doesn't amount to much, or very little. It can amount to something. At least you know that you have some framework. But a realizer is another thing altogether, and the effects of looking, that has beneficial effects on a given life. Totally. I mean, it's helpful. It doesn't change the nature of it, though. That's the thing. Part of what's recognized, like Papaji once, I remember saying, and he's talking to people who were around, like been hanging out with him a lot. And he says, he says, where you fall into the trap is you think it's the body and the mind that's free. The body and the mind are never free. And that's important, because that's like, in a way, you let samsara off the hook, the clearer you get about the distinction. That, oh yeah, the people in the screen are just going to be people in the screen. They don't get to somehow become otherwise. And people in the screen that know they're on a screen can be great changes that happen out of that for them. Like, wow, I can relax. The end of the story isn't that important. Or, I'm inherently free as the screen, not as the images. It's like, so a body mind can say, I'm inherently free as consciousness itself. And of course, the images on the screen are the screen, but they're lights and colors on the screen. They're not really what they appear to be, which is like books and everything that's, whatever couches, and isn't, couch doesn't really fit in the screen, really. So it's like a Zen master once said, what he said is, he asked the student what the import of the teaching was, and he said, everything is in me. And then the Zen master picked up a big rock that was, he says, is it? No, everything's in our minds. He says, is this in your mind? Your mind must be pretty heavy. It's like, it's like getting it clear what that actually means. Like, if your mind is the screen, then everything isn't what it appears to be. And that's the whole thing about it being an illusion. But yes, it definitely, there are benefits, but the benefits shouldn't be overplayed. Definitely.
But part of what I'm hearing you say is that yes, it can reduce doubt, but it can also increase confidence in an idea, which is maybe not helpful.
Very right on. That's you put your finger on it. Absolutely. I mean, we've seen it. I mean, it happens, the pitfalls of, a storyline that we received, of which we are not good enough, let's say, then if we see the recognition of consciousness, look, Buddha is like, he's the God of the universe. So I'm good enough, I'm a Buddha. Or, you see the bumper stickers, get out of my way, I'm a goddess. It's like, yeah, that's the thing. How many people, gurus, have you seen become inflated in their sense of entitlement and also sense of being impervious to the result of what they do? Because after all, they're not really this, but they are in terms of, and it comes back to, thud. It's like, as consciousness, you're not that. So, it ends up being that humility is like totally appropriate for a Buddha. It's not like some added thing. It's like, no, that's intrinsic in the recognition of what's what. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna I can have diseases the same as everybody else. And I mess up the same way as I just know. It's just so. But the doubt, I hear you in terms of doubt. Certainly, practice or self-inquiry or exploration relieves the body and the mind of doubt. This is where, this is why on the tapestry I have orange so close to red and all that, because it really intrinsically, that's how it is. It's like, in a sense, if we're speaking in terms of, like you're speaking in terms of an individual who doubts, which is the self-image, the mind, the body, all of that, right? Or the effects of doubt in the body, all of that. What happens is, what's very useful then is devotion, because the doubt is treating, like, in other words, as long as there's a sense of yourself as other than consciousness itself, then the way in which the mind relates to consciousness itself is as other. And so by then trusting, I am surrounded by, the infinite. If we, just to try to mix up the gender thing, I'm surrounded in the womb of Prajnaparamita. That's one Buddhist way of speaking. The goddess who is emptiness. I'm in her. I can relax into her. And there's no way. In the end, she's my safety net. I'm just going to fall into emptiness, who is the womb of which all Buddhas have been born through, that emptiness. And so, the mother of all wisdom. So now you can relax, you can be in devotion some way. It may be huge, like a bhakta person or a devotional person, or it might be just a tinge, as in Dzogchen, which is like, it's the Buddhist highest teaching and all that, but they end up with Samantabhadra, this being who you pray to or who you have a relationship with, who is nothing but your own mind ultimately. And they always like to say that. Still, they got to picture it. And he's called what's his Samantabhadra? It's all good. I love that name for. And Shiva, by the way, translated means it's auspicious. That's what Shiva means. So, it's all good. So when you're on that edge, you can kind of just let go. And if you're at all feeling like, oh, this is too much to let go into, I don't know who I am and what I am, you can go, oh, okay, the eternal emptiness who gives birth to all form. I can trust that, because my body, my mind, all of this that I am has arisen in that and has organized itself to be a coherent being in that. So I can trust that. God or goddess, I can trust you. And I will, that's the only word. Maybe I just use one word so I don't have to think any more thoughts about trusting you or not trusting you. So I'll just say over and over, Jesus, 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 with no thoughts about that. Ram, 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 Shiva, Shiva, Shiva. That's all. Just Devi, 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 Ma, as Ramakrishna. Ma, 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 Ma. Because when you say one word, it's the heart reaching out to the vastness that's beyond language. But it's still a heart. It still needs. So it has one name that it uses. Mm. Wow. Okay. Michael, have we?
Thank you.
Good.